Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships. As today I'm going to be featuring the Prinz Rupprecht. This will not be a live commentary. I had multiple good games, and I was down to 2 battles, and I felt this one probably was the better of the two because I'm solo, I'm not in a div, so some of you may be playing, the Prinz Rupprecht is a secondary brawling battleship, and you don't have a div mate to push with, right? So how do you make those type of plays happen? As I'm kind of enamored by the Shikaku, looking like he's doing the Michael Jackson moonwalk backwards. So the Prinz Rupprecht, what does this ship have going on for her? Well, she was a project battleship. She's got 8 406mm guns. And she kind of, even though I say battleship, she feels more like a battle cruiser. And I say that more because she has really great speed for a Tier 9 battleship. And her armor is a bit of a weakness. She doesn't have strong armor, which we'll talk about. In terms of her health pool, when you have it maxed out like I do, it's 63,900. And actually, she has as far as I remember and know, she has the lowest health pool of all Tier 9 battleships. So something like the Sinop at Tier 7 Russian battleship has more health in her B hull. I think Sinop has 65,000 health, or a Tier 8 Massachusetts, 66,300 health. So your health pool is low, so you don't necessarily have that longevity in terms of your life to go long term. There'll be points where you will need to slow down, maybe go dark, and heal up, as I grossly underestimate the speed of a Colorado. But there'll be times you'll need to slow down and heal up, and I'm going to demonstrate to you how to what I should have done in this battle later on. So in terms of her strengths, I'm also going to be looking at the WoW's Wiki article. She's got the second best concealment of all Tier 9 battleships at this point in time. Her secondary performance is amazing, especially when you get her max concealment down to I don't remember even what the max concealment you can get down, because I don't have max concealment at this point in time. I think I'm rocking 13.6 as I don't have concealment expert yet on this commander, as I actually respect Lucians. So you can have a very small difference in gap between your secondary and your concealment, like maybe 0.5 kilometer difference. I have to look. Yeah, this says 0.2 kilometer difference. You have 8 torpedoes that go 12 kilometers per side, so you have 16 torpedoes in total. So you make some destroyers rather jealous. High top speed of the 32 knots. Hydroacoustic search is 5.5 kilometers in detecting other ships. It was 6 kilometers, but then they kind of nerfed it. They thought it was a little too much. Oh yeah, and here it says in the cons, lowest health pool of all Tier 9 battleships. Her gun performance is low, with her very low AP penetration and your barrel count, because you are only having 8 4.6mm guns, but it's kind of the secondaries is where the torpedoes that make up for that. Carries 1 less repair party than other ships, so 3. Here I have 4 and 5 damage control parties. Casemate secondary guns can cause enemy ships' shells to penetrate when angled. And you have a weak AA performance, even against Tier 8 carriers. So let's talk about this battle. I'll talk a little bit more about the ship. So I've asked, if you notice in our chat, I asked of Vlad, hey Vlad, do you want to push with me? Trying to see what he would say, if he would come up with me. Our destroyer went ahead and moved up aggressive here, so I wanted to go ahead and step up and support him. So here we have Lexington coming at us. We're not going to be able to do a whole lot, but it looks like he's eaten some flak. We nose in towards the island, 1, to avoid the torpedoes. 1, I don't want the Jean Bar to have shots on me. We have a lot of things incapacitated, so we use a damage control party. And you may have noticed the previous salvo, we knocked out one of the front turrets of the Colorado. Because of those 16-inch guns at that close range, I didn't want him to do a whole bunch of damage to me, so I was trying to mitigate the damage I would take. And interestingly enough, you probably noticed that Jean Bar was actually a secondary Jean Bar, because he was hitting us at 11.2, 11.3 kilometers away. So with our Hydro remaining, we're going to step out on this Fletcher. I'm going to just utilize this smoke screen. I don't know if the Fletcher has his second rack, but we go ahead and finish him off before maybe you would have the chance to use it, and we go instantly dark. Then we have the York come out here. I'm trying to see maybe I can stop in time, but I noticed that it's going to be really close, so I decided, no, let's just go ahead and move. We'll go ahead and come out. So we're trying to aim this well. So that was too low. I'm trying to make it the shell's arm instead of just overpinning like that. But our secondaries are able to make up the difference, and just like that, we're up to 3 kills. So let's talk about that window of opportunity that I had. So when I was looking at the mini-map, I saw that there's just a destroyer. You had the Colorado moving up. You had that Jean Bar. That York really wasn't in a helpful position. So I saw a window of opportunity that I'm like, even if the Vlad doesn't push up with me, I feel pretty comfortable that I can actually move up and support the Lightning. So that's what I wanted to do. So if they were heavier on the flank, I would not have done that. I don't know why the Colorado felt like he needed to run up on the cap, but he did. And so we saw that as a window of opportunity that, hey, we can push up, and that should encourage our Vladivostok to also push and move up with us. So that all worked out. Sometimes when there's going to be more enemy ships on the flank, it's simply just not going to work out for you to be able to do what I did. But I wanted to give you this video, this battle, as an example because there were less enemy ships on this flank. Now, even though it's just a destroyer, we're still going to take a shot at the destroyer. One overpin means he's got less health, less life later on in the battle, assuming he lives if we get over that far. So we want to take that opportunity. Now we have this Atago who's pulling out broadside, getting away. And so since we've collapsed their flank, our team's really taking more the initiative per se with the map control. Maybe you can almost say it's balanced because they have that Jervis up at C2. But we've completely collapsed this flank. So we're going to do our best to utilize that. Now something this is where I'm going to say I wish I would have done something a little different. I would actually have preferred if I went ahead and used a repair party here. I wouldn't have gotten the full use out of it, but if I went ahead and use it here, by the time it comes off cooldown, I'll have the next one when I need. Secondly, also what I would have liked to have done here is I've been leading this fight so far and have this Vladivostok. So I've had that Georgia game that I featured last week about pushing with ships, and I talk about, you know, when you're a little low on health, you're taking some beating and you're with another battleship who's pushing with you, let him slide up and take more of the advantage, to take more of the focus fire. And a Vladivostok, that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to tank a lot of damage, and I should have done that here. I should have went ahead and maybe just got around the corner and pulled the brakes and let the Vladivostok push up at least evenly with me, if not take the lead in front of me by, let's say, a half kilometer or something like that. But I'm a little greedy. I'm greedy for the Kraken Unleashed. So that's something I have to be mindful of, is that sometimes for myself and maybe even for you as a player, the greed will get the best of you. I'm very happy about how much secondaries I've had so far in the game, and I want to get closer. I want those secondaries to start ringing. And here you can see you got the Lexington, you got the Jean Bar, you've got the Iowa, and you've got the Heisen, and they're kind of coming back and responding to our push. So this is a telltale sign, like now, I should just go ahead and cut the throttle. I should slow down, and I should let the Vladivostok move up. But I'm not doing that here. So that's definitely a critique on my performance. And my repair party would be close to coming off cooldown now at this point. But I want more, and I know I shouldn't. So regardless, I made a decision I did. So now I go ahead and actually use the repair party. Because I saw some shots coming in from the Iowa. I'm expecting a salvo from the Heisen here shortly. So I went ahead to preemptively use that heal. so that I can try to get the next repair party up in time. Yeah, I guess Lexington got a little bit of a strike there. So we're gonna almost get a full usage out of this heal, although there's a couple seconds that lapse there where we don't get anything off. So unfortunately we don't get to kill on the Heisen. The Vladivostok does. He's doing what he should. We're drawing some destroyer attention off to our right. We do have our hydroacoustic search up. I wanted to go ahead and pop it just because we're drawing some of that attention from the Ognavoy and the Kolsik. And now I see that the Lexington's coming in on us. So I've overextended myself. So I'm paying for it and losing my health to try to draw in close and get the kill here on this enemy Iowa. So we're going to eat all of those torpedoes. As I turned out, I didn't realize the Lexington was coming in with the torpedo drop. So that was a mistake on my part. So here you can see we could actually get full use out of a heal. But I don't have the heal up. So that would have been one of the strengths if I would have waited to use the heal. So I'm really critiquing myself here just to help keep you in mind. And I want to get torpedoes off before I die, just launch them into that smoke screen, but it's too late. And here's our Vladivostok, almost full health. So it would have been completely fine to let him take some of that heat, take some of that attention and focus. But we got greedy. We went for our Kraken Unleashed. So when you go from the Zieten to the Prinz Rupprecht, it's definitely a world of difference in my opinion. I just feel that it's a really good step up, like kind of almost like when you go from the North Carolina. North Carolina is a pretty solid standard to a battleship, ideal battleship, I would say. But then when you go up to the Iowa, like the guns just feel so much sweeter. The ship, high speed. You have really good AA. But here, when you're going from Zieten to the Vladivostok, Zieten to the Prinz Rupprecht, it just feels really sweet, really good, stepping up. And I have the Schlieffen now, so I will do a video on Schlieffen soon. But for now, let's talk a little bit more about the Prinz Rupprecht, because there's just a lot of action happening in this battle, and I need to have maybe some more of that downtime to talk about the ship. The armor, your bow armor and stern armor are 27 millimeter. Yeah, 27 millimeter on the fore end and aft end plating. So that means also with a lower 30 millimeter. So I don't know if you want to think of it as an icebreaker, but that means you can be overmatched by 4 and 6 millimeters. So that's why, for example, the Colorado was doing really good damage on us because he has 4 and 6 millimeter. And I'm like, wait, and is that correct? I can check. Yeah, she's got 4 and 6 millimeter. So that's why the Colorado is getting some really good pin damage in on us there towards the end. So you see a lot of 406 millimeter. I mean, that's Colorado at 207. It's not as common at tier 7 to have 4 and 6 millimeter. You begin to see more of it at tier 8, 9, definitely, 10, definitely. So you do get punished quite easily, where you feel like you're angled well, and you'll still, you won't bounce. You're a soft battleship. You're a battle cruiser in terms of your armor scheme. So you will eat a lot of damage. So you have to know how do you mitigate the damage you take in. You saw us as we pushed up. We utilized the islands. We utilized the smoke screen briefly. We still continued to utilize some of the islands popping in out of darkness, and we took some shots at that Kosik, and then we finished off the Atago. And then we're out in open water. And when you're out in open water, you are going to take a lot of focus. There's not much you can do in that situation except pulling on the brakes, let someone else, like that Vladivostok in this battle as an example, take the lead. Just because if you continue to lead the charge, even though you may have gotten a Kraken Unleashed like I did, you're likely going to pay for it with your life when you're pushing into the rest of the enemy team, because you're there. If you would notice, we had so much more map control. I mean, we had like 80% of the map in our control. So there's only little space they have left, so you will draw attention to yourself in a story like that. So 35,000 experience, 2,000 free XP, Confederates, 2 close quarters, Kraken Unleashed, 161,000 damage, really good. 352 secondary hits, 5 destroyed. We even got assisted in capture, a couple of torpedo hits. So don't feel like when you're going broadside, running alongside a battleship, you have to dump all 8 torpedoes on one side. Usually just one rack will do it, unless that battleship's full health. We're going to top the team at 2,100 base XP with our Vladivostok friend, close second at 2,077 base experience. So between me and him, did a lot of damage in just collapsing that flank. Iowa, you exceeded most of the damage on the Colorado, York, the Fletcher, the Otago, even on that Heisen. So if you time the shells right, you can actually do a lot of damage with those AP shells. It's not nothing like a Iowa would do, but it's still decent. And here you can see what we ended with, a premium account with our credits and XP earnings. So, my opinion of the Prinz Rupprecht is that it's a fantastic Tier 9 battleship. It's a lot of fun. So much fun that the current commander that I have on, I think he's like 18, 19 points. I went ahead and I just left him on the Prinz Rupprecht because I foresee myself playing this battleship fairly regularly, maybe something like ranked at Tier 9 ranked. Maybe there's a Tier 9 Brawls. So this is a ship that you don't want to just yoink your commander off of. Unless he's your only high point commander, then of course go ahead and move him over to the Schlieffen when you get the Schlieffen. But this is a really fun battleship. It's so nice to be grinding up a brawling battleship line again after grinding, going up for Vermont and then going up for the Yamato. So I'm happy to kind of be done with those mid-range, long-range, sniper-ish type battleships and be something more like a brawling battleship line, like we have here with the German battle cruiser line is really what I would call it, just because of the weaker armor but high speed, good concealment, but low survivability. So perhaps I'll feature another battle on the Prinz Rupprecht somewhat soon. This ship is just so much fun. Maybe I do live commentary with it, but this battle really illustrated everything that I wanted to illustrate with. And I didn't even get to talk about we took a lot of plane damage from the dive bombers when Lexington first attacked us, because AA is a weakness. It doesn't have as great as AA compared to something like the Iowa. But you got to see a little bit of everything here in this battle, so that's why I felt like it was best to choose this one and showcasing the ship. So tomorrow we'll do an upgraded commander build of the Prinz Rupprecht, so make sure to stay tuned for that. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.